Carly, and I'm back again with another review. So I had a live stream last night and I asked everyone which Spider-Man No Way Home figure you would like me to review first, and the answer was a resounding Miles Morales, as it's the hardest one to come by. But in that discussion, we also talked about my Sentinel Miles Morales, and so I posed the question, how would you guys like me to do the reviews on these, because I haven't reviewed that one yet. Would you like me to do them both together, or would you like me to do a separate video for each one? So I put a poll up on my community page on my channel, and the votes came in. 70% of you wanted to see both of these figures in the same video. So I'm going to be taking a look at both of them. This review will predominantly focus on the Hasbro Marvel Legends figure, but we will take a look at the Sentinel, and I'm going to explain to you why I'm still going to do a separate video for the Sentinel that you will not have to wait long for. But as I was really getting into the toy, it became apparent that this is not an apples to apples comparison with these two figures, and I'm going to show you why by looking at some of my previous Hasbro Miles Morales figures, and I'll look at the Sentinel one as well. So we've got a lot going on, a lot to talk about in this video, so let's go ahead and get right into it with a quick look overall of our Gamerverse Miles Morales. So for those of you who have played the game, you will recognize this awesome suit and this incredible figure. I am really, really happy with the way that this figure looks. I am a huge fan of the game. I talked about that in my live stream. I love the Spider-Man games, the story they present. It just feels like a really smooth addition to the entire Spider-Man lore and universe, and I just really, really love what they do with those games. They're so infinitely replayable, and it's just a great way to interact with your favorite characters. Miles is absolutely no exception, and the way that this figure looks is amazing to me. And I will say that I feel that with this iteration of the Miles Morales figure, I think that Hasbro has really stepped it up a notch. And for me, I'm going to show you the other two Miles Morales figures I have and explain why this is my favorite one of the Hasbro Marvel Legends Miles so far. I think they've really taken it to the next level, and we'll go through everything about him. But first, we're going to look at our Spiderverse Miles, which I absolutely loved. If you remember my review at the time, I do still really love this figure. The sculpt on him is so nice. I loved the character design for this character, but what you'll see, and you'll know right off the bat if you follow my channel what my main issues with this figure are in comparison to the Gamerverse Miles that we're going to be looking at. First of all, this jacket and hoodie, which completely obstructs his range of motion. And while it is a beautiful callback to when he originally becomes Spider-Man, and it was really a great part of the movie, and I love it for those reasons, as an action figure, it bothers me. It bothers me that it's taking up so much of his torso, and you know, it makes it more of a statue type figure than a posable figure. The second thing in comparison to the Gamerverse, while this is exactly true to the Miles that we got in the movie, you'll see that he is small. He is tiny in comparison to the Gamerverse Miles. And this is the way that the Miles character in the game, this is very true to his look, the way that he was. But the advantages of having a larger figure are apparent. So with this smaller figure, it doesn't take much to weigh him down if he didn't have this bulky jacket on. And so this figure has always been very hard for me to display, always very hard to pose. I actually, when I just picked it up, had to pick like a piece of sticky tack off of it because it was the only way I could get him to stand. We're gonna get a lot more balance, a lot more posability, and a lot more flexibility out of this figure. So this is a great statuesque type piece, but this is a much more functional, good-looking piece. And the other Miles that I have is the Venomized Miles, which you guys might think doesn't really apply at all here. But again, what we're looking at is a teeny tiny frame, and again, because of the enormous feet and hands, we have a figure that is easily thrown off balance, very difficult to pose, and while he's not got the obstruction of the jacket, this figure, again, is really, really hard for me to get to stand on my shelf, to pose in any type of way, because it's so slight and frail compared to this figure that I just can't, with his big weird hands, which I think stylistically are a wonderful choice, but it just makes the figure more difficult to use. So now, before I get more into the specifics of the Hasbro, we'll take a look at the Sentinel figure, which I think you can notice right off the bat is exponentially tinier than any of the Miles figures we have seen so far. You can see that this Miles is teeny. He is very frail. He's very small in comparison to this Miles. And he's quite a bit smaller and lighter than our Into the Spiderverse Miles. So there's a reason for that. These Sentinel figures are really for photography. So they have a system of articulation that is so complete and so advanced and so far above and beyond what Hasbro could possibly do at the price point that they're giving us. Every single point of articulation on this figure is absolutely buttery smooth. Every single thing about him is, you know, complete in its movement, its range of motion, the ease with which you get it into the position that you're working towards. There's just absolutely no way a figure like this could exist in the Hasbro market. So the reason that I'm only going to briefly sort of show him off is because, as I said, when we're talking about this Sentinel Miles and we're talking about this Hasbro Miles, we are not talking about the same thing. This is an action figure that a 4-year-old could play with and enjoy. This is an art toy that is meant to create more art with. This is not one that's going to just sit on somebody's shelf. If they're using it right, you'll be creating beautiful pictures with it. You'll be doing articulated comic book art. You'll be doing awesome videos like Jay Hernandez does, using dioramas. You'll be really getting the most out of this figure. That's what it's designed to do. And while you can do a lot of those things with your Hasbro figure is also tailored to play. So that these are not the same. This is a stunning figure, and the reason I am, I'm including it because everybody wanted to see it. So I did want to like show it and like kind of go through the points of our, show what it looks like in comparison. But I'm going to do a separate video with it because I just want to show you what it comes with. There's so much to go over and talk about with this figure. I just don't want to do a disservice by skimming over it and just do a brief comparison. So we see the comparison. They're not the same thing. Both are beautiful, and we're going to talk mostly about the Hasbro after this. So here's the accessories pack that we're getting with him. We've got a variety of heads. You can see all the hands. We've got bandanas, jackets. You can see the way that the extra set of jacket arms, so you can put him in his hoodie. Like, it's so in-depth and intricate. We have this incredible stand. We've got all of these different webs and hands, headphones, his cell phone. I mean, it's wild, the amount of accessories that come with it. It's so beautiful. It's so beautifully put together, and I just feel like it needs its own video too. So I'm kind of trying to do both. 70% of you wanted a comparison side by side. This is a stunning toy. There's no way that you can compare it to a Hasbro toy. That's my analysis, and we will look at every single point and detail about this in a separate video. But that's the look at the Sentinel for those of you who wanted it. Now let's get into our Hasbro Miles, because this toy is also really, really wonderful, you guys. So first of all, we've already had a really good look. He looks absolutely incredible. The suit, the detailing on his suit, the texturing, the paint application is really great. I love that they chose, in all of these Spider-Man games, there are a number of suits, but this one is the most direct, the most simple, and because of the paint application, I feel like the most iconic and easy to translate. So it looks the way that you expect Miles Morales to look, and it's executed really beautifully. He comes with an incredible accessories pack, which is another reason I kind of didn't want to spend too much time on the Sentinel. You saw all the things that came with the Sentinel. But for a Hasbro figure, this figure comes with an astounding amount of really awesome accessories. So here is the Miles head that it comes with, which looks spot on to the Miles that we get in the game. He's got his bioelectric hands, which is really cool. 2 open hands that aren't doing like his web shooter pose. So 2 open hands. And then there are also 2 fists, which I forgot to take out of the box, but there they are. So there's 2 fists. So we've got 2, 4, 6 hands and 2 heads. 2, 4, 6, 8 hands and 2 heads. That's an amazing package for this figure. The figure cost me $24.99. That's retail, so that's a great price with a bath piece. It's a really impressive value. And the first thing that I noticed when I took this figure out and started to play with it are 2 primary things. First of all, the weight of it feels altered. So what I mean by that is that a figure of this size typically might be a little bit heavier, a little bit more dense, and in a lot of ways I feel like there's been something that's changed as far as the core density and weight of the figure that is making it easier to pose. So while he does have a decent heft to him, he is like a little bit more compact, I guess, and it's because of the smaller body size partially, but also partially I feel like the materials are being used more efficiently. And you also notice the effect of that when you are using the articulation. So his head moves beautifully, it's really smooth. You can see all the range of poses that you can get with it. We do have a slight, like when the shoulders are going up, they bump into the cowl a bit, but when you turn the arms, you can go ahead and get the full range of motion that way. So the range of motion on the shoulders and arms is smooth and really easy. But just observe, like while I'm turning these joints and bending these joints, how smooth and effortless each of them are. It just feels like it's better than we've seen in a long, long time. And he's got butterfly joints. The butterfly joints feel almost like they're for show, I have to be honest. I was really excited when I saw them and what you're actually getting out of them. While it's like smooth, it's not really like doing a whole bunch for you there, but it's great to have it. The ab crunch is dramatic. And you know, Spider-Man is a acrobatic figure, so you've got to have like a really flexible, multi-articulate figure, and they didn't miss anything on this one. You can see how easily the waist turns, the turn in the hip. We've got the thigh turn here. A wonderful, easy bend in the knee. He doesn't have a boot turn, but he does have really great flexible feet. I couldn't be happier with the articulation on this figure. And again, he just looks really iconic and classic and well executed. I think it's kind of, another reason I didn't really want to talk about the Sentinel that much is because it's kind of a disadvantage to put this type of figure next to a Sentinel and say like, what are the pros and cons of each, because they're so different. But I will say that this is one of the best Hasbro Marvel Legends figures I have purchased recently. I have absolutely no complaints about anything from top to bottom on this figure. It is so good looking. It is by far and away the best Miles that I have in my Hasbro collection, and I could not be happier to have it. I can see now, not just because it's a Gamerverse or a part of a BAF or whatever, I truly believe the reason that this figure is hard to come by is because people have used it and spread the word about how amazing it is. And I think that if you have the opportunity to pick this up, if you can find it, it is worth it. While I never encourage people to patronize scalpers at all because of the scarcity of the figure, you know, I would pay a small, like a small markup. I don't want you guys to go out and like seek out your local scalper and give somebody $80 for this figure, because I do think there's a chance that maybe we could get another one coming out, fingers crossed, because it's so good. But if you do come across one, if you find a place that has them, I definitely recommend picking him up. He's still worth looking for if it's one in the collection that you didn't get. If you're trying to build the bath and you just couldn't find him, keep looking, because this figure is definitely worth having, and I feel so lucky to have found him. I am going to share the link of the comic book shop that I purchased this from. So a follower of mine on Instagram, when I let everybody know that I was looking for this, messaged me and said that his local comic book shop, which was called Memory Lane Comics, it's in North Carolina, had it, and it was listed on their website. He sent me the link. I clicked through, it was $24.99 plus $10 shipping, and it came in like 2 days. They were easy, wonderful, it was packaged beautifully, it arrived complete, and it was a great transaction. I seriously doubt that they have just an unlimited supply of these things, but when a small local business is able to help someone out like that, I want to promote them as much as I can, and you know, there's a chance if you're still looking, you might go there. So I will share the link that I used to buy this figure and the link to Memory Lane Comics, because maybe you'll find something else that you liked there. They were wonderful to work with, and I would encourage anybody to buy from them. So that is that. Miles is a definite hit for me. It's got me really excited about what we're going to see from the rest of this series of figures. If you watched my live stream last night, you know how much I loved the movie. If you didn't get to catch my live stream, it is now posted. You can watch the replay on my YouTube channel here. And I absolutely adored the movie, and I'm really excited to take a look at all of these figures. So please let me know in the comments of this video which figure you'd like to see next. I'm not going to be putting a poll up because I'd like to sort of boost engagement a little bit so that people will start getting my notifications again. I mentioned last night in my video that a lot of people have told me they're not getting the notifications on my video. So please put a comment below and say which figure you'd like to see next, so that we can kind of maybe work the algorithm a little bit so that people are starting to see my content again. I appreciate you guys so much. I'm having so much fun making videos again, and I can't wait to keep going with this. We're going to be doing a video from No Way Home every single day until we get to the Bath Armadillo, and I will be throwing my Sentinel Miles in there somewhere. We're going to look at Sentinel Miles and Peter B. Parker very soon, but those are going to be long videos because there's so much to say, and I want to give them their just deserves. Thank you guys for being here, and I will be back tomorrow with another one. Let me know in the comments what you'd like that to be. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day, and I will see you soon. Bye, friends.